Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Siobhan. I usually share videos about figure drawing. Mostly I'm in my studio making drawings of the figure, but today's video is a bit different from the usual upload. Today I'm out in a field drawing horses. Over the past few days I've spent some time up at a friend's farm. We did a lot of hiking and I had the great privilege, I think, to spend some time hanging out with this beautiful herd of horses. While I was there, I managed to get a little bit of drawing time in, and so this was really exciting for me to draw horses up close. I only managed to get some very short gesture drawings done, but I really wanted to draw from life rather than take photos and then draw finished work later back in the studio. In this video, I want to show you how to apply the technique of gesture drawing to a subject other than the human figure. And I also want to share some tips on how to draw a subject that's moving constantly. Luckily, I brought along my drawing board, I brought some newsprint and charcoal pencils and charcoal pieces. Because I knew that I had just such a short time to capture a drawing, I wanted to first of all try to capture a sense of the overall shape of the horse. And to do that, I was looking for those big sort of obvious markers for the overall shape. For me, those are the shoulders and the hips of the horse. And I like then to look at the way that there's like a sweeping line along the back that connects these two main sections. As well as that line along the back, there's also the line under the belly. And I love the flow of the horse's neck and how the neck and head make a lovely silhouette. So these are very loose and general markers that can be a good starting point for drawing a horse, or at least for making these quick sketches like this. But I find the legs can be tricky. Personally, I've always found the legs of a horse to be really complicated to draw. It just seems like, the back legs in particular have an anatomy that just doesn't quite make sense to me. It doesn't seem intuitive. It's very challenging to get those curves going one way, then going the other way. So that's always been a bit of a challenge. And because I know, very little about the anatomy in proper detail, I always try to follow the shapes that I see. I think if I studied horse anatomy, I guess I would have a much better understanding of these shapes. But for these sketches, and whenever you're drawing something for a pure drawing experience and aiming just to be responsive in your drawing, it's actually very enjoyable to just follow shapes with your eyes, even if you don't intellectually know the reason for them. It can be a really interesting drawing experience. But right away, the biggest challenge for me in this exercise wasn't just the complex anatomy, but it was the fact that the horses around me were just constantly moving. It seems like a grazing horse should be still, but in fact, they just moved all the time and were never in one pose for any length of time, really. The good thing, though, was that because there were about 7 horses around me all the time, it was easy to start one pose, and if that horse moved, then I could just look for another horse in the same pose or the same angle and continue the drawing from there. And all the horses were similar in size, so this really worked out to be a good option, or a good way of approaching it. I've mentioned in a previous video that with gesture drawings, you're really trying to capture a feeling or a quality, not the details or the proportions necessarily. I'll leave a link to that video. So that means that you're free to let your lines be wrong or be in the wrong place or to just flow around the whole drawing. Ultimately, you really want to feel that you're drawing your subject, whatever it is, as a whole, a unified thing, and not as sections or separate parts. So think about your line connecting each of the sections into one unified and cohesive unit, and that will really help with your responsive gesture drawings. With gesture in particular, the movement throughout the drawing is more important than accurate or realistic proportions. I mentioned before that being able to follow and draw movement or understand the movement of the figure is as important as understanding or knowing the names of the muscles, the bones, and the tendons. And another thing that I wanted to point out is that gesture really trains you to be selective in your drawing. Again, this is so important for drawing, even if you want to make a longer, more detailed study and spend time rendering and being really, really precise. I think being able to be selective and knowing how to be selective in your drawing means you will know what to emphasize in your line work, and it will ensure that your line has a sense of rhythm and isn't just one note all the way around. And the last tip that I wanted to give you, that works for me anyway, for drawings like this, I like to use a combination of tone and line. The tonal marks will help you to work out the mass of your subject, or at least to block in something of a shape. And then the line can help you to search out the more definitive aspects, things like contours and edges, or shape and structure. I really like working in this way. It's very effective, and for a gesture drawing, it can help you describe things while still being loose and searching in your marks. So I hope this demo of horse sketching helps you to free up your line work and to make more gestural studies of whatever your subject is, not just in your figure drawing. So long as you can make some time to draw from life, your drawing is going to improve drastically. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful or if you've got any thoughts about this. I'd love to hear from you. Please give this video a like and definitely subscribe if you haven't, so that we can stay in touch. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back to regular dispatches from the studio in the next video.